That's session 3. Let's continue learning about the rest of the question types. Last time, if you can remember, let me activate the chat box. Can anyone tell me any of the, the questions that we talked about last time? I mean, the names only. The names of the types of the questions we talked about last time. Yes, vocab, evidence-based, excellent. Yes, the literal one. Yeah, literal means the the direct question, specific. Okay, we talked about the specific questions. They are with line references, and some of them are with no line reference. We talked about the big picture. I mean, we didn't talk in details, but we took only the names of these types. Yes, that's perfect. So that's perfect. So mainly they were four types, guys. 4 types. Okay. Back to the chat box. So the 5th type is the analogy questions, or Erica has a very sophisticated name for these questions, like extended reasoning questions. What do I mean by that? Analogy questions. What do I mean by that also? These questions ask you to apply ideas discussed in the passage to similar new situations. So it's all about comparison. And like having a comparison, like there is a situation in the passage and you want to find a similar situation, a similar situation in, a new idea in the 4 answer choices, or new ideas in the 4 answer choices, but you need to pick the one that is most similar to the one stated in the passage. And this is what we call the analogy questions, or the comparison questions, or, as Erica called them, extended reasoning questions. Number 6, which has to do with the function or purpose questions. How do I know them? Look at the last 2 lines of the slide. Such questions end with the preposition to, or has the word purpose or function in the heading of the question. So this is how to know the function or the purpose questions. What do they ask you about? They ask you to identify the rhetorical role, or the role. Let me say the role. Okay. For example, to describe, sorry for repeating describe twice. Describe, support, refute, criticize. So to ask you to identify the rhetorical role of certain various pieces of information, and the role each of these pieces can play within a passage. In other words, why does the author, why does the author write or bring or put this piece of information in the passage? What is the role? What is its rhetorical effect on the passage? Okay, whether it's used to describe something, to discuss something, to support something, to refute something, to criticize something. So based on the context, you will get to know. So at the end of the day, you need to know the function or the purpose of a certain piece of information assigned in a question heading, and this question heading is likely to be ended to end with the preposition to. And by the way, each answer choice will start with an infinitive. I mean the verb in the base form. The 7th type of the passage of the questions, the passage organization questions. Passage organization questions. I, personally, I include this type with the big picture questions. I do not classify it individually or separately. No, I place it within the big picture questions, but Miss Erica likes to have it as a separate one, a separate type. So these questions test your understanding of passage structure and point of view. The passage structure, how the passage is organized, how the passage is organized, like in what way? In terms of cause and effect, in terms of an introductory, general introduction, then supporting body paragraphs, then conclusion. This is for the scientific. How exactly do I include, does the passage include a certain experiment in the middle? So you have an introduction to a certain phenomena, then you have certain experiment or a research paper, then you have the conclusion. So you need to identify these various parts or how the paragraphs are organized in terms of the main ideas of each of the passages paragraphs, okay? Now, the question type number 8, tone and attitude questions. Okay, tone and attitude from the name, the title of this type, you can feel like we're gonna play this positive negative game. So tone and attitude is the author approaching a certain idea or a certain aspect in the passage positively or negatively, and this will test your understanding of how specific words or phrases help establish an author's perspective, an author's position, an author's opinion. The ninth type has to do with paired passage questions. The paired passage will have the same exact types of passages, types of questions as those of the single ones. You will have function questions, big picture questions, specific questions with line references, specific questions with no line references, inference questions. But at the end of the paired passage questions, you will find certain specific questions that will not appear anywhere else except for the paired passages. They'll be located at the very end of the questions. Okay, if you're dealing with two passages, they're going to ask you or test your ability to compare texts with different, often conflicting points of view, and to infer how each author would likely react to the other's point of view. So you will have these questions only with the paired passages. And they are located where? They are located at the end. The last three questions, maybe the last three or four questions at the end of the paired passages. One of the students, by the way, texted me privately. Hopefully he is attending now because, he was trying to answer the assignment the previous session, and he came across one of these questions and he told me, like, I got puzzled. I didn't know how to label this type. So I told him it is related to the paired passage questions. Still, we will cover them, or we will introduce them in this session. The last type of questions is the data analysis questions. This is how Erica, refer to them, or the graph questions. The graph questions test your ability to interpret information presented in graph or table form and to determine whether and how it supports various pieces of information in a passage. How to interpret certain information presented in a graph, okay, to support the main idea of the passage. And as I referred to in the very first session that usually the authors bring graphs or tables to support their main claim or their main idea. Okay, I mean their main idea, the idea of the passage as a whole. An author will never bring a graph or a table to contradict, okay, or to oppose the main idea the author is presented in the passage. Now, the book's chapters, each chapter in Erica's book is devoted to a specific type of question and is followed by exercises that allow you to practice that particular skill. So, how beneficial this book is, the fact that this book actually classifies and explains each type of questions and gives you or provides you with a particular practice, okay, or certain exercises for you to practice that particular skill, because we agreed upon the fact that the reading section is all about skills, testing your skills, your comprehension skills, the ability to understand the rhetorical skills, the comprehension, reading comprehension skills. Okay. So before getting into the details of the first type of questions, we need to understand the answer choices as well. We need to know the types of the wrong answers, the incorrect answer choices, so that we can be avoiding, we can avoid being tricked, okay, by those incorrect answer choices, okay? So incorrect answer choices usually are more obvious than the correct ones. So it happens so many times that you cannot detect the right answer, but you can detect the very wrong answer choices because you know their types. So knowing the types of the wrong answer choices or the incorrect answer choices will allow you to figure out, which answer choices can be absolutely wrong, okay? So by using the process of elimination, you can be left with the answer choice that is most likely to be the right one, simply because you couldn't categorize it, among those incorrect types. Okay, so let's complete. Before I introduce the incorrect answers, okay, do you have any questions so far? Do you have any inquiries? You can raise your hand in case you want to ask about anything so far. Okay, let's proceed. Incorrect answers typically fall into the following categories. An answer choice can be off topic, means it's not addressing the very topic that the passage is introducing, regarding the perspective it is being introduced by. So it is totally off topic. You couldn't find any reference to what is written in that answer choice. It's totally off topic. And this is one of the very obvious answer choices, wrong answer choices. Too broad means the passage discusses, for example, the passage discusses one scientist while the answer refers to many scientists. And this has to do with singular versus plural. So even if you're dealing with scientific passages, we are not testing you on science. We are testing you on language. So the idea of being singular and plural or versus plural, this has to do with language, not science. Too extreme, the answer choice can be too extreme, too extreme. They include words such as never, always, or completely. Like too extreme, there are certain extreme words that SAT doesn't prefer having within the best answer choice. So you will not likely to find that the best answer choice will include a word like never, a word like always, a word like completely, because such words leave no chance for other opinions, for the opinions or others' opinions. So it's something that is very biased. So SAT shouldn't go for any biased attitudes. Half right, half wrong. Half right, half wrong. Yes, half of the answer choice can be right in terms of what you've read, and the rest is totally wrong, or you simply cannot prove it from the passage. Okay, I have someone, Hagar, is raising her hand. Yes, Hagar. Yes.
Hello.
Hi, dear.
Too extreme. What does too extreme mean?
What does what? Extreme
What
mean?
Too extreme mean?
Yeah, okay, thank you so much. Thank you. I'll respond to you. Too extreme means, it's biased. It's biased means it has a certain preference. It reflects, personal opinions. Okay, because nothing is absolute. Okay, never, always, completely, absolutely. Okay, something that gives no chance for any other opinions. Okay, like when I tell you, let me say that, okay, all the students never prefer to travel abroad. What is that? This is too extreme. This is your own subjective opinion. No, we don't like to go for such extreme opinions, because this means that you leave no chance for others' opinions. Okay, so no biased answers, no extreme words. That's the one aspect about the correct answer. It shouldn't contain any extreme words. Okay, hopefully it's clear now. Okay, half right, half wrong. Right words, false statement. So something that can be, right in terms of a certain part of it, but it is wrong in terms of the rest of it. It is wrong. It's, when you complete reading the answer choice, you feel like, yeah, there is a couple of words that can't be proven and can't be correct. Could be true, but not enough information. So this one, and this is the most confusing, one of the most confusing answers. Together with this one, half right, half wrong, could be true, but not enough information. So could be true means, yes, it can be right, okay? But the point is that the rest of, like, for example, if I'm asking you about 4 elements, I'm asking you about a certain character reacting to a certain situation in a certain way when another character was present. So you started talking about the same main focus in the end in one answer choice, but you didn't cover all the elements that I asked in the heading of the question. So you feel, yeah, could be true, but not enough information. This answer didn't cover all the aspects that I talked about, the character reacting to a certain situation in a certain way in the presence of another character. So the answer can be talking about that character only, without referring to the other one mentioned in the heading, so it is not enough, okay? So perhaps there is a better answer. True for the passage as a whole, but not for the specific lines in question. And this also is tricky. When you are asked about a certain, portion, a certain portion within certain line references, okay? And one of the answer choices, you feel, yeah, it is true, I've read it somewhere, but you've read it somewhere, but not in the very specific lines that you are asked about in the heading of the question, then this answer is wrong. That's why, guys, we classified the questions. So if you are asked about the passage as a whole, so your answer must be as general as the question is. If you're asked about a specific set of lines, then your answer must focus on this set of lines, okay? Not any other parts of the passage, okay, that can be 2 paragraphs away from the lines you're being asked about. No, this is totally wrong. Factually true, but not stated in the passage. Yeah, perhaps you have read a couple of passages about the topic, and you feel, yeah, this answer choice can be right. You have read it. You have read this piece of information in one article, in one book, but it is not stated in the passage, then it's going to be wrong. Is it clear? So don't be tricked by such traps, okay? Someone is raising, yes, Fatma? Yes. Fatima? Do you have a question, Fatima? Okay. So these are the types of the incorrect answer choices. On most questions, many test takers find it relatively easy to eliminate a couple of answers, but routinely remain stuck between 2 plausible sounding options. This is, this is always the case, because 2 of the answer choices can be off topic or too broad or too extreme, so they are very easy to locate. Yes, Fatma, you are unmuted now. Do you have a question? Okay. So I guess she has a problem with the mic. Now, let's see. There will be always two plausible sounding options that you guys can be stuck between. And usually the students say, okay, we are always stuck between 2 answer choices, and we always go for the wrong answer choice. Okay, we're gonna get to see how to be, avoiding this. Typically, the incorrect answer will fall into either the could be true but not enough information, or the half right, half wrong category. These are the types of answer choices, incorrect answer choices, that can be problematic, because sometimes you are, intimidated by having half of the answer choice, yes, is relatable, you can relate to it, something stated in the passage, but you are not sure about the rest of it. You are not sure whether, a certain word or a couple of words can be proven or not. Usually, these are the types of answer choices that you can get stuck between. In such cases, you must be willing to read very carefully in order to determine which answer the passage truly supports. And this is the point. You will break down the elements of these 2 answer choices, and you will compare them to the heading of the question. And then you will read the portion of the passage that targets or that introduces these specific elements being asked about in the question. Right. You will try to compare and see which one of these elements found in the two answer choices that you are stuck between are covered in the passage, in the very parts you are reading. Okay, so the more elements you will find in a certain answer choice, the more elements you will find of these elements in the passage, the more likely this answer choice is to be the right one. In case you find any new information that has no reference in the passage, then immediately eliminate it. Now, let's approach one question type. We're gonna now get closer to approaching one question type. The first type of questions that we're gonna approach is the question with a line reference. So you're given a question, you're given a line reference in the heading of the question, and you are asked about a certain question about this line referenced part, and you are given 4 answer choices to choose from. So let's see how we're gonna do that. First of all, read the question slowly. You need to read the question slowly because you need to consider each single word in the heading of the question. Okay, you need to consider each, and this is not for this question only. This is for all the types of questions. Read the question slowly. If you're gonna spend some time reading something, so I recommend spending some time reading the question very well. Why? Because if you misunderstand or if you miss a certain idea or a certain element found in the question, this means that you are likely to answer this question incorrectly. I'll tell you something that I experience with my students. I assign a certain homework, okay, a certain reading homework, and I ask them to, answer the questions related to certain specific reading passages in real tests. And I tell them after they do their homework to write down the numbers of the questions they got wrong. After they listed the questions they got wrong, I ask them to classify them according to the types of the questions. Right. Then, because I want them to know their weaknesses. Okay, so if I get a question incorrectly, so I must have a problem or a certain weakness within this type, okay, or dealing with this type. Like knowing the problem, diagnosing the weakness, then now we need to, deal with it, to make a remedy, to offer a remedy for it. All what I do is that I show them that I only read carefully. I focus. Sometimes the students just tell me, teacher, I swear, okay, one of the students told me once, I swear, yeah, teacher, that when I read this question alone, I was stuck and I got confused and I went for the wrong answer. But when you read it only without, I still didn't explain it. When I read it and highlight its elements, this student realized his mistake. So sometimes it needs a bit of you to be careful enough dealing with or reading the heading of the question. Okay, read it carefully and read it slowly. Of course, some of you would tell me slowly what we are under the stress of time in the test. The test won't give me this privilege. Yes, but we have a weakness. We are still beginners. We need to deal with our problems. So we need to deal with them patiently in order to get used to how to approach each type. Well, once we get to the accuracy, then later we're going to be quick, okay? So reading each aspect very well, because you need to search for these aspects later when you deal with the answer choices. Put your finger on or highlight or underline each word of the question as you read it. Otherwise, you may miss key information, and even every letter of every word counts. You know, every letter. Do we mean every letter? Yes, we do mean every letter, because if the question is asking you about one scientist and the answer choice, one answer choice is introducing scientists, so it's only a matter of the letter S, this will make this answer choice incorrect. You see why some of you get some answers incorrectly? It's because you guys do not read well. Go back to the passage after reading the elements of the question very well. Go back to the passage and reread the lines given in the question. Okay, we're gonna read the lines given in the question. Why? Because we're dealing with the questions with line references. So you know already where you're gonna read. If the question seems to call for it, read the context around the given line reference to. I'm sorry, line. This is line. Okay. So you need to do what? You need to read the context around these the given line references. If the question seems to call for it. Seems to call for it means, for example, if I go for the line reference and I find a certain pronoun within the line reference referring to something stated earlier, I need to understand what is stated earlier. So I need to read what is before the line reference. Pay attention to those portions. Sorry, I dropped the I here. Those portions, let me just correct my... In just a second, because I feel bad when I find something. Okay, here, not this one. Yes, that's line and portions. Okay, so pay attention to those portions with key punctuation. Key punctuation means, the unusual punctuation marks like dashes, italics, colons. Okay, guys, then the very common and usual punctuation marks are like the periods and the commas. But the unusual ones, or the key punctuation, the ones that you won't find them frequently, like the dashes and italics in colons. These punctuation marks usually mark certain important information that your correct answer choice might be related to. Don't forget that we are dealing with what? With specific questions with line references. So they are specific questions, because recently in one of the sessions, one of the students told me that, teacher, I used to cancel any choice that has dashes, because dashes will remark non-essential information. And you told us, teacher, that non-essential information is always unimportant and you shouldn't rely on non-essential information. ever. I can never say that. I say that we never rely on non-essential information when it comes to a question asking you about the main idea, the big picture question. So the main idea questions, guys, definitely, the answer choice will not be related to a non-essential part. I'm asking you about an essential idea, a main idea. How come the best answer is related to a non-essential information? But when it comes to line reference questions, specific line reference questions, and this line reference, this specific part has dashes or colons or italics, these punctuation marks are very remarkable. So they can be telling you something. Number 3, answer the question in your own words and write the answers down. Sometimes, Miss Erica says that this is going to be step 3. Sometimes we don't, some students do not have this ability. They do not answer the question. They cannot answer the question in their own words and write the answer down. They cannot do that. They feel like, sometimes they do not understand a certain portion. So in this case, you can skip this one, skip this step. You're gonna read the answers carefully, the way you read the question carefully, okay? From A through D in order. You're gonna, you will check choice A, B, C, and D, okay? And then you start applying the process of elimination. Cross out the answers that are absolutely wrong, that belong to any of the types that we covered, any of the trap answer types, or the the incorrect types of answers. And remember, the more information an answer choice contains, the greater the chance that some of that information will be wrong. Be careful with the long answer choices, because you need to make sure that every single aspect mentioned in the answer choice has a reference and an evidence in the passage. Otherwise, it's going to be incorrect. What if you are still stuck? See whether there is a choice that looks like a right answer by eliminating the very obvious wrong answers. If you are still stuck, skip it or guess. Skip it or guess. You don't have to waste your time sitting or staying with one question and wasting your time, wasting the time of the other easy questions, because as if the score is bleeding now. You are wasting all of your time trying to approach a certain question that seems to be challenging or hard, while the other questions can be easier for you to answer correctly. But because you insist on trying and trying to find the answer to this very hard question, you will be losing more achievable ones. So please, if you feel like you are stuck and you couldn't figure out the best answer quickly or relatively quickly, you can skip it, or you guess it based on the process of elimination. You try. We agree upon the fact that we will never be, or most of the time we want to be very sure of 100% of the right answer, but you can be very sure of the very incorrect answers. Okay, guys, so you can pick the right answer based on the other incorrect ones. You can always come back to it later if you have time. And if you're still stuck later on, you need to pick your favorite letter and fill it in. You should never leave anything blank. So Miss Erica is telling you guys, don't feel bad. when you feel like you're stuck and you don't find any way to the right answer, you can just guess it and pick your favorite letter, okay? And then go ahead and don't waste time on this challenging question. Let's have an example to apply the steps, answering the questions or specific questions with line references. So guys, I'm sorry, I was muting my mic. Can you please tell me, I activated the chat box. Can you remind me with the type of this question? Okay. Specific question with a line reference. Yes. No, it is not a purpose question. Here, the author suggests that the sharing economy, line 11, could eventually. This is a specific question with line reference. And I told you the word suggests can give you what? Can tell you it's an inference question, can it? It's an inference question and a specific question with line reference. Thank you so much. We're gonna now try to approach answering this question. So the author suggests, okay, that the sharing economy, now I'm gonna, after the word that, okay, I'll highlight suggests for me to know that it might be challenging a little bit because it's an inference question, it's an indirect question. And that the sharing, after the word that, after this pronoun that, I'll start highlighting the important elements. That sharing economy, line 11, could eventually, okay. So I know where to read. Will I read line 11? No. I will not read line 11 only. Because line 11, okay, might not give me a complete context, might not mean anything to me, okay? So you need to read what is before, what is after, to read the context, okay? To see, while I'm reading, I usually consider the context clues. I usually consider the main focus. What is the main focus? What is written in the subject place. I consider the tone. Is there something positive? Is there something negative? Okay, and then I'll go for the answer choices and start eliminating the choices based on the types I told you about regarding the incorrect answer choices. Okay, let's read. Next. Actually, the word next tells you that there is a sequence, it's a transition word. So you need to read what is before. You need to read what is before. Similarly is the same thing. Similarly is a transition word, links what is before to what is after. Also this one. So the author wants, you see that at first, okay? So the author wants you to read from the beginning. So this is Okay, this is what I meant by if the question calls for it, read the context, read what is before, what is after, in case the context or the heading of the question calls for that. Right. So the sharing, as long as you, so the first tip you need to write down. If the question is asking you about a certain specific line, you will never ever read this line only. You will read the context around this line. And if the context has a sort of transitions or pronouns referring to what has been mentioned earlier or later, you need to read that too. If you skip this step, then you're likely to be fallen into the trap. So the sharing economy is a little like online shopping. The sharing economy is a little like online shopping, which started in America 15 years ago. At first, people were worried about security, but having made a successful purchase from, say, Amazon, they felt safe buying elsewhere. Similarly, using Airbnb or a car hire service for the first time encourages people to try other offerings. Next, consider eBay. Having started out as a peer-to-peer marketplace, it is now dominated by professional power sellers, many of whom started out as ordinary eBay users. The same way, now I have to pay attention, the same may happen with the sharing economy, which also provides new opportunities for enterprise. Okay, is it enough? I can read a sentence more, one more sentence. Some people have bought cars solely to rent them out, for example. Okay, good. So now from what I've read, I feel, that sharing economy is like something else, like the online shopping, and we are given several, examples of platforms on which people are, purchasing or making certain purchases and so on. And here a similarity between the online shopping and the sharing economy. And I have here, having started out as a peer-to-peer marketplace, it is now dominated by professional power sellers, okay? Power sellers, many of whom started out as ordinary eBay users. The same may happen. The same of what? The same of what? What is the thing that may happen with the sharing economy? Like here, started out as a peer-to-peer market. It is now dominated by professional power sellers. Okay. The same may happen with the sharing economy. So I have to focus on this part because the same is referring back to this part. Okay, guys, to this part. I need to focus on sharing economy found in line 11. And this line, the beginning of this sentence is referring back, the same may happen. I want to know what is that same that may happen with the sharing economy. Okay, it is now dominated by professional power sellers. Okay, is it clear? So now let's see, and even here, which also provides new opportunities for enterprise. Some people have bought cars solely to rent them out. Right, let's now go, we read the context, what is before, what is after. I read more of what is before because I kept, guided by the sentences to go backwards. And the same, this is the most important part that refers to what is mentioned right before, because it is the closest part to the word or the expression I'm being asked about the main focus of the question. So now let's use the process of elimination. Sharing economy, line 11, could eventually grow larger than the traditional economy. Have you any reference to traditional economy? And have you a reference to a comparison in terms of the size between the sharing economy and traditional economy? Can you please raise your hand to say yes or no? Let me take certain random people. Do you think, Shahda, I'm gonna keep this one? Shahda?
No, miss, no.
Okay, so you are totally
It's extra.
convinced? Yeah, extra. This part I have no reference to. Thank you so much. This is not, it's not mentioned, it's not related. Okay, thank you so much. That was amazing. Letter B. Be controlled by a particular group of sellers. Be controlled by a particular group of sellers. This part, dominated by, power sellers, controlled by a particular group of sellers. What do you think? Do you feel like, yes, Hazen, do you feel like there are synonyms here? They are equivalent ideas?
Yes, they are, because controlled and nominated are similar.
Oh my God, that's perfect. So we're gonna keep it because we have certain, references, certain evidence in the passage, in the context that can make sense in terms of sharing economy. Thank you so much, Hazen. Letter C, rely mostly on hybrid models. Hybrid models. Have you seen such a thing here? Okay, let me pick Maya. Yes, Maya.
No.
So letter C shouldn't be kept, right? Hi, dear. Can I keep C or I shouldn't? Maya, okay. Yes, go ahead.
No, we can't.
We can, because we don't have any reference in the context referring to sharing economy to those hybrid models. Depend exclusively on former eBay users. Okay, yes, I found eBay somewhere here, right before the very sentence I'm dealing with. Depend exclusively on former eBay users. So I'm stuck, guys. I feel like B can be, yeah, the right answer, but I have also D, a reference to certain elements I read about in the context around the very line I'm referring to. So what do you think? Now I'm gonna pick, yeah, Jumana. Yes, honey.
Hi, teacher.
Hi, dear. What do you think?
I think D is like a true part, but false statement. We didn't see this in the like the citation we read.
Excellent. Oh my God. Oh my God. Wait, you know that exclusively also is an extreme word?
Yes, I'm going to say that.
Yeah, and yeah, what did you say? Like right words, full statement, or what?
Yes, I said
Yes,
that.
certain words are there, but it is, we didn't say that. Depend exclusively on former eBay users. Look at the information found here, many of whom, those powerful sellers, many of whom started out as ordinary eBay users. Many of them started out, I didn't say depend exclusively on former eBay users. This is a different, they are different. This is not right. So this is the type of answer that can be confusing, that can have the same words, but full statement. This statement isn't the very statement that I have here. Many of whom started, many of those people started out as ordinary eBay users. this is not equivalent to depend exclusively and only on former eBay users. So this is has an extreme word and belongs to the type of answers that can have right words but wrong statement. Okay, so B is the best answer because yeah, we have, you know, equivalent meanings here. We have certain references, evidence, good evidence, and everything is clear. So now, do you have any questions regarding this this one? Yeah, I have some people asking. Yes, Muhammad, go ahead, Muhammad. Muhammad Mustafa. Hi, Muhammad. Hi. Oh my God, like your voice is barely heard. We can't hear you well. I don't know if you if you can fix it. Yeah, try to speak.
And now,
Yes, yes. Go ahead.
nothing. I tried to answer only.
Oh, okay, thank you so much. No, I thought you had a question. Mariam, thank you so much, ya Muhammad. Yes, Mariam.
Yes, miss. So the word eBay users is used too much. So should be like a hidden word.
Okay, but here my main focus is on sharing economy, right?
Yes.
Okay, good. And I need to read what is related to sharing economy, okay, and to find a reference in the passage related to this, this main focus. So here I have the same may happen with the sharing economy. The same, what is that same? It is now dominated, okay, by professional, powerful power sellers. Is it clear? So many of those sellers started out as ordinary eBay users. I didn't say that the sharing economy could eventually depend exclusively means only. You know, when a certain show is exclusive on a certain channel, means you will not find it anywhere other than this channel. So only dependent on formal eBay users. This is a wrong statement. I didn't say that when I refer to users, eBay users. Okay, hopefully you understood. Yes, dear. Okay, Mariam, is it clear now?
Yes, miss. Thanks.
Okay, most welcome. So the way, this was a model for you to follow. You have the steps in this presentation. I gathered only the steps. The point about this course is that I highlight the important words, the important steps by which you can be approaching each type of questions. We apply on a certain question, and in order not to make this session very long and boring, I know that dealing with reading section is actually not the best thing in the world. So you guys can be applying the steps I used now in order to answer the specific questions found in the first passage, the first two passages, okay, because we need to apply that. The first two passages from of December 2021 international, the one that we are working on, and next time we're going to answer these questions together. We're going to answer them together so that we can apply this approach on any specific question with a line reference, okay, the way I applied it today in the session, and see how many mistakes you got or how many questions you got right. Of course, I'd be very proud if you guys, if any of you got all the questions correctly. So we're gonna work on answering the specific questions with line references in the first two passages from December 2021 International, and we're gonna discuss them next time and introduce, if we have time, introduce a new topic, a new type of questions in order to master the skills of the reading section. Any questions? Thank you so much, guys. Remain safe and happy, and see you next week. Bye.